how I ended my 13-year relationship a few months before the wedding. So a little backstory, I was with my ex for 13 years and engaged for a year. That's already a red flag. Why were we dating for an entire decade without tying the knot? But that's a whole nother story. So I met him my senior year of high school, and he was just starting college. He was friends with my sister, so that's how we met. My parents loved him. I loved his family. So he finally proposed, and I was literally over the moon. I had dreamt of this day my entire life, our entire relationship. So after the proposal, we did have an engagement party. So now it was time to plan the wedding. We went and looked at some venues, fell in love with one. We booked immediately. We had also booked a wedding planner and a caterer, and I decided that I was going to go to Pakistan with my mom to do all of the wedding outfits. So I was in Pakistan for 3 weeks, and I ordered all my clothes and also was almost finalizing his stuff. My mom was going to stay longer to finish up everyone else's. So now I get to Dubai from Pakistan, and I had a few hour layover there, so I'm literally just bored out of my mind. The funny thing was that I was messaging him and it was kind of taking him long to reply, and I'm thinking there was a 12-hour time difference, so I'm like, he should be like in bed. So I'm like, hello, where are you? And he's like, hi. And then he calls me a little bit later, and then we talk and everything, and I'm about to board the flight. So then I tell him like, okay, I'm about to board, so I'll talk to you later. And he's supposed to be picking me up when I get home. Why am I shaking telling this story? Like, what is wrong with me? I'm totally okay now, but I don't know, just nervous. So I'm waiting to board my 13-hour flight from Dubai to SF, and I never checked my DM request on Instagram, and I don't know what told me that night. So I go to it and I click on the first request. It's from a girl, and as soon as I read the first few words, you guys, the way my heart literally sank, I cannot explain that feeling. My worst nightmare just came to life. So basically her DM said, your man wasn't fishing last night. He was with me. We went to a bar to get a drink. Nothing happened between us, but I realized that he was engaged. I'm so sorry. I just looked at your Instagram. You look like a beautiful person, and I just wanted to let you know. And he was posting that he was fishing on his Instagram stories, so that's why she said that. I couldn't believe that this is happening as I'm getting ready to board my flight after just ordering my wedding outfits. My bachelorette party was booked. Everything was booked. So my first thought was like, damn, I don't really want to seem insecure, like I don't trust my man by messaging her, but like I didn't. So I just replied, do you have proof? That's all I said. My heart was racing. I felt so sick to my stomach. Like I can't even explain. So I called him back immediately. I got out of the line to board and I called him, and he's like acting casual. Obviously he's like, what's up? And I was like, so what were you doing last night? And he's so confused because we had just got off the phone, and he's like, what do you mean? I told you I went fishing. And then I was like, okay, and before you went fishing? And he's like, oh, I went to blah, blah, blah bar to get some drinks with so-and-so. And he's like, why? At this point, he already knows that I know something, because why did I just call back to question him? So I asked who was he at the bar with, and he named his friends, and I was like, no, who else was there? He's like, just us. You're crazy. What's wrong with you? And I was like, no, there was a girl there. Who was the girl? He's like, oh, that's my friend's friend. I'm trying to get him to say the name. He's acting like he doesn't even remember the girl's name. He's saying some random names. And then in this time, I go back to her page to look at her, and I saw that he was following her. And then after I talked to him, I see he goes in and follows her. So I'm like, oh, so you do know who I'm talking about, and you were following her until now you just went in and followed. So I just hung up because I knew I was about to turn into a completely different person, and I was at the airport. So I hung up on him, waited for her to send me proof. And I'm like getting so scared and hoping that the flight gets a little delayed so I get the proof before I hop on this flight. So then she sends me a random picture that she's in his car, and he has a Tesla, and I recognize his car and his hand. So I knew it was him. He is like messaging me, he's calling me, he's blowing on my phone. So I answer him, and I'm like, so why was a girl in your car? And you guys, the story he made up as to why this girl was in his car, like, he goes, oh, that was so-and-so's friend, and she's never rode in a Tesla. She wanted a ride, so I just like drove her to the bar. You are not in a Bugatti, okay? His lies were just getting worse and worse. He even had his friend, who is the biggest liar that I do not trust, send him a message saying, oh, that was so and so. So he's showing me screenshots like, look, he knows I would never do anything like that. And I'm like, okay, you want me to believe this liar? You guys, if I did not have proof, the way I would have believed him, because the way he was manipulating me and telling stories, he's like, you know, I always run into your friends every time I'm out, which is true. He's like, you really think I would take some girl out to a bar knowing that I run into your friends all the time? And in my head, I'm like, he's got a point there. I don't think that if he was doing that, he would be at a bar. He would like go to someone's house. So I'm like, She had also sent me another picture, so I knew that them two were at the bar. But then I knew he was making up this whole story. He was lying. But if I didn't have that proof, I would have believed him because his lies were so believable. He's like, I would never do that to you. Are you insane? Someone is lying. They don't want us to be together. You're crazy. I just tell him, I cannot believe you and I'm done. We were getting ready to board, so I had to get off the phone. So he's blowing up my phone, sending texts, calls. I'm just ignoring it. And the girl sent me more messages. So I was fully aware of everything going on. I just sat in the plane and I was just numb. Like I was shocked. I was numb. I couldn't even begin to process what the heck was happening with me. That entire flight for 13 hours, I just sat there like this. I didn't even recline my seat. I sat up straight like this for 13 hours. I just closed my eyes because I didn't want to be bothered. I did not sleep. I didn't listen to my music. I did not use the bathroom. I did not drink water, food, nothing. Kept hoping that I'm dreaming. This is a nightmare and I'm going to wake up any second. The guy on the plane next to me was so freaking nice, you guys. He tapped me to wake me up for a meal. I had already missed breakfast and lunch, and this was dinner time. So he tapped me. He's like, oh, you've been missing meals, so I got you a plate. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. And he's like, you took something? And he had an accent, so I couldn't understand. So I'm like, huh? He's like, you took something to sleep like that. And I was like, oh no. And he's like, all natural? And I was like, yeah, natural. He was literally concerned for my livelihood. So I didn't want him to think I was some psychopath. So I tried to eat my meal and I literally felt like I was going to throw up. I had to stop. Okay, fast forward. I'm in SF, the worst 13 hours of my entire life, to say the least. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if to still have him pick me up. I still had one more flight to go. So I messaged him saying, do not pick me up. I'll figure it out. And then I was like, okay, pick me up from the airport, because I'm like, I just need to deal with this. So I finally land home. He texted saying that he's here, he's going to park and come to baggage claim. And I'm like, no, why would you come to baggage claim? Just wait for me, pull up. I'm just going to come. Like, I don't want you to come inside. And then he's like, my mom is with me too. I'm sorry, what? He says, oh, I'm going to take my mom to the sister's house and she's near you, so we're just gonna drop her off. But I know what he was doing there. Like a zombie. Not only I haven't slept in like 30 plus hours, I also haven't ate. My eyes are bloodshot red. And then I walk down and he's standing there with flowers and his mom is smiling, and God bless her. I literally love her. I hugged her and I didn't hug him. She immediately knew something was up because of our body language. And she didn't speak English, so she didn't really know the few words that I said. I just said, yeah, that's my bag. So basically in the car ride, he's like trying to sweet talk. Let's drop her off first and then we can talk. And I was like, no, drop me off first and do not come back. Like, I'm done. So he drops me off basically, and he's like begging to come over and talk. He said he can explain himself. It's not what it looks like. He's still not admitting, and I still haven't told him how I know. So in his head, he thinks that somebody saw them there. So he's like coming up with the story like, oh, I was there with friends. It wasn't just me and her. I very quickly realized this man has no guilty conscience. The fact that he did that and he was still following her says a lot about him. Like, he didn't even care to remove her until he got caught. The amount of lies this man was telling to save his life, swearing on his mom. And so finally, I decided to send him a screenshot of their DMs that she sent to me, and his whole storyline changed. And then the way he still tried to manipulate me, try to put it on the girl like, oh, I wasn't even into her. I was texting you while I was there, and she got angry, and now she's messaging you. It's like, sir, we're not discussing her. We're discussing your actions. You very much yourself messaged her, asked her out, took her out to have a drink. We're talking about that. Then he had the audacity to say, don't do this. We are getting so close to getting married. Like, we cannot do this. I'm like, I don't do this. You did this. Like, be so fucking for real right now. I was just losing my shit. He's like, we're so close to getting married. We're gonna have it all. I love you so much. I would never do that to you. You would never do that to me. You just did that to me. I haven't told anyone in my family yet. I messaged his sister. She was messaging me if I'm back to let's grab dinner. So I made plans with her. I wanted to tell her. His sister was the first person I told. We went to dinner. I'm like acting casual. Like, you guys, I felt numb. I couldn't even process what was happening. Like, it was just not even clicking, like what was happening with me. Finally at dinner, she could tell my voice was cracking up. And then I just told her what happened. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He's so stupid. I'm going to slap him. No. And I was like, no, I'm just telling you this because I don't think I can move past this. She's like, no way. Things like that happen, but there's no way. And she's also trying to justify his actions by blaming the girl. I'm like, the girl doesn't owe me anything. He owes me his entire life. And he messed up. Obviously, his sister was having a hard time believing that I was being so real because she could never imagine her brother doing that because he was a great brother. He was always in good light in front of them, so she could have never even imagined. But I was like, no, he admitted, and I have proof. And I cannot move past this, so I'm just telling you, like, I'm done. And she just thought I was just, like, saying it. I wasn't actually going to be done. Neither was he. He's like, no way, don't do this. We have so many years under our belt. We have the rest of our lives. Like, I will fix everything. I will do anything. I will. Guys, I was just done. Like, I cannot believe few months before our wedding, you would do this to me. We were doing so good for so many years, or as I thought. And in our happiest times, you could step out like that. I have no doubt that you will do this once we're married and have kids and when life becomes harder. I just felt like it was a sign from God. I'm like, literally 3 months before the wedding, what are the odds? A girl has never reached out like this and gave me solid proof. This is a sign. Take it and run with it. Do not go through with this wedding. He's like begging to come see me and I'm saying, no, I'm done. I never want to see you again. We're writing essays. When I say essays, like, you know, the iMessages get so long where you have to click on the arrow to go into the PDF. That's how long our messages were. And this went on for months. So I took it slowly. I didn't remove him from social media. I just muted him and I just didn't get on TikTok and Instagram for months. And I was posting nothing but wedding content. And right after I got on that flight, I went silent for months. So everyone was like, where's Aaliyah? What is going on? So then I tell my sister after a few days of me processing it and I realized like I'm done. And I told my older sister, she just was in complete shock. She started crying with me and she's like, I'm so sorry. What are you thinking? What do you want to do? And I was like, I'm done. There's no moving forward from this. I want you to call mom and tell her to stop the wedding planning. She was messaging me like, hello, I need your approvals on things. And I wasn't responding to her. So I was like, before she goes any further with the wedding clothes, I need her to stop. She's like, are you sure, sis? And I'm like, yes. I wanted my mom to know immediately. I wanted family to know. So, cause there was no going back. I didn't want to fall for his lies. Then we called my mom and told her. We made sure my mom's sister and brother were with her because my mom is like loses her shit. And sure enough, she was crying and screaming. She was in shock. She literally loved him like her own. And then my mom told my aunts and then my cousins. Then everyone's like reaching out to me. And I literally did not want to talk to anyone. I did not get out of bed. I would not eat. And my older sister was literally like such an amazing support system. She would just sit there with me, like try to talk me through things, and we would just sit in silence for hours. My friends would come over and we would just sit in silence because I felt like someone died because I literally felt like I couldn't move on. I was so heartbroken. Right when I thought I could have it all, it was like taken away from me in like a heartbeat and I could not accept it. And he had the keys to my house and he knew my parents' like work schedule. My mom was out of town. My sister was not in town. So he just showed up and I was at home working. And I told him I'm going to call the cops if he doesn't leave. Like, he can't just pull up. He tried to talk. I said, no, I'm done. I don't want to talk. I said everything I wanted to say. And he's still trying to make it work. And I was like, there's no going back. He literally couldn't accept it because he never thought that I would leave him. He did come over another time with flowers. And at the time, my two best friends were at home and we were just prepping food and he just walked in. And it was so awkward. And I told my friend, you need to tell him to leave. Like, I'm going to lose my shit. And then she like walked him out. And I told him, you cannot come here. We are done. There's no working this out. And then he's sending flowers to my house. He's begging my dad. He's begging my sisters, my cousin. He's DMing my friends. And this went on for like 2 years. And his family is begging me, and I loved his sisters, I loved his family, but it's like, you guys are not going to live with this for the rest of your life. It's like me that will have to suffer. So I had to make a decision for myself that I do not want that life for me. Like, I was so 100% genuine and kind and loving in that relationship, and I deserve the same. If I don't know my worth, a man won't. So I was like, I have way too much self-respect for myself to let him do me this dirty. A year passed and he's still just like literally delusional. He's like, enough time has passed. Come on, let's talk this out. This is not over yet. And I'm like, what? Like, this is so over. You are crazy. And then after some time, he was started calling me from blocked calls, and then it stopped. And then he messaged my friend, like, is there anything in the world that I can do to just have a conversation with her? And I said, no, I am done. Like, I put up with so much in that relationship, but that was my final straw. And when a woman says she's done, she is done. You have broke all trust. There's no trust in this relationship, and we're supposed to just act normal and get married in a couple months. Like, I was like, you're literally a psychopath. Like, I cannot move on. I seriously thought I would never be able to get over it because he was my entire world, and I felt like my world just came crashing. Like, I felt suffocated, that I'm literally going to die. I just couldn't imagine that I would be able to heal from something like that. But when they say time heals everything, I swear time heals everything. Like, now I wish I could go back to my old self, broken down, thought I couldn't move on even a day. I couldn't eat. I was always so nauseous. I was so miserable. I wish I could go back and tell myself, you're going to be okay. I would literally watch TikToks of girls talking about their relationship and going through similar situations, and it would make me feel so good and would give me hope that one day I will get there too. And the way sad music just was my therapy, and like listening to a good old sad song got me through it. It was so bad where I couldn't focus on anything. I couldn't do anything. My sister got puzzles for me, and puzzles was literally the only thing that I was able to just focus and forget about everything else. I would literally be up till 5 a.m. just finishing a puzzle. That was like the only thing that held my focus for like months. Yeah, it was really hard to accept, but I am so happy that I made that decision because no one deserves to go through that. And with time, the amount of clarity I got, and when you step out of a relationship, then you realize everything that was wrong with it. And I was just like so happy and counting my blessings that I found out before I got married than to be stuck in a shitty marriage. Slowly, I just had to redirect my energy in life into things and learning to be myself again. And I felt like I kind of lost myself. So I was like, okay, it's time for me to do everything that I love for me and not for anyone else. And then that's when I got really hooked on creating TikToks, and TikTok became like and still is like my creative outlet that I can forget about everything else, and I have so much fun doing it. And now the peace I feel sleeping at night, knowing no one is out there embarrassing me, you guys, nothing is worth losing that peace over. To end this on a lighter note, I feel like I get a second chance to do it all over again. Like, I was in a relationship my entire 20s. I do feel sad about that at this big age now, I have to go out there and date. Like, don't even get me started. Like, what do you mean? I never actually dated before. It was not a thing back then. So now I'm like, at this big age, I'm supposed to do that. I have like no dating phases in me, even though I never went through a dating phase. The silver lining in all of this is that I get to do this my way. I have full control of my life, and no one is going to come and take that away from me. My peace, my confidence. I have so much clarity now of what I want out of a relationship or a man. And until I get exactly that, I am not settling for a man. There's so much more I can say, but I think I'll end it here. I think you guys get the gist of it. And girly pops, I hope you took some notes. Don't be ignoring those red flags. If you see a red flag, run the opposite direction.
Am I the asshole for not serving as much food as I know my dinner guests will want to eat? First, I want to be clear that I don't believe in body shaming or food policing. I have lost 100 pounds myself, and I'm working on losing another 50. I have no place to judge anyone for what they eat. I pride myself on being a generous host who makes my guests comfortable, and I feed them well. No one leaves my house hungry has always been my rule. The problem is I have a friend group that meets monthly at either my or Joan's home for dinner. No one else has enough space to host. Recently, Polly announced that she had a girlfriend, and it made us all very happy. Polly has been lonely for a very long time. I was the first to host Melissa. Melissa is 500 to 600 pounds. I've never met anyone that big, but I hid my surprise and was warm and welcoming. No problem, I have sturdy furniture. For dinner, I served bowls of salad, then soup. Melissa insisted on keeping her empty bowls at the table. I didn't think much of it. I'm not Emily Post. Then I brought out the main course, 2 9x13 pans of 14-layer lasagna, cut into 8 pieces each. There were 10 of us all together. I told people to dig in as I got the bread from out of the oven. When I got back to the dining room, everyone looked so shocked. I thought my cat had farted. His mouse farts could suffocate an elephant. It was then I saw that Melissa had 4 pieces of lasagna heaped on her plate, 2 in her salad bowl and 2 in her soup bowl. Melissa, I don't give a fuck how big you are. You know that's too much goddamn food to be eating at a setting where there are 10 fucking people. Melissa. Polly was glaring at everyone like, don't you say a word. Melissa seemed utterly oblivious. I didn't know what to do. I just sat down. No, absolutely not. I would have called her ass the fuck out. How you gonna come to someone's house for the first time and eat an entire pan of lasagna to yourself and be utterly oblivious? She ain't fucking oblivious. She just know ain't nobody gonna say shit because they don't want to offend her big ass. Absolutely not. I would have said something. Joan and I shared 1 piece of lasagna and everyone else got a full piece. I cut the cake into equal portions for dessert, but I had to make an extra batch of sauce and get an extra tub of ice cream out. Melissa ate at least a liter. Melissa can't come back. She can't come back because she don't know how to eat when she's not at home. If this is how you eat on a regular basis, Bookie Butt, you should have ate a lasagna before you came. If you need 8 pieces of 14-layer lasagna to yourself, you should have ate one before you got here. Hell no, have some fucking decorum. That shit's embarrassing. The next month, on Joan's turn, she served every course pre-plated, and when Melissa asked for extra, Joan apologized and said there was none. Truth, Joan is very organized and precise. Melissa and Polly left right after dinner, and Polly texted Joan, berating her for controlling Melissa's eating. Someone has to. Someone has to police Melissa's eating when she comes to other people's house and eats like she's the only motherfucker that was invited for dinner. Someone's got to do it. Polly also texted me saying she trusted I'd be sensitive to Melissa's needs on my next turn. I don't think you and Melissa should come. As expensive as groceries are, I'm sorry, I don't think that you and Melissa should come if Melissa feels the need to eat everything by herself, or I feel like you and Melissa should host and y'all can just use my house. That turn is almost here. My plan was a roast dinner, pork and beef. I can easily make lots of cheap vegetables and dessert, but meat is pricey right now and I'd have to serve twice the norm to satisfy Melissa. I know I can't just trust that she'll take 1/10 of what's there, considering she grabbed a whole lasagna last time. So do I suck it up and just buy much larger roasts? Do I make a few big batches of cheap soup and biscuits and serve that rather than strain my budget? I don't want to upset Melissa or be a stingy host, but I've never dealt with someone like this before. I was obese, but I would have eaten maybe 2 pieces of lasagna, not 8. Do I just serve a reasonable sized meal and tell Polly and Melissa sorry, that's all I have? Am I the asshole if I serve less food than I know my guests will want? Edit to add. Everyone in the group that doesn't cook, so 7 people before Melissa joined, chips in $25 per meal to whoever's hosting. That, until inflation got so bad, covered enough of the food costs to make it feasible. Joan and I have been both simplifying our menus a bit to deal with the rising costs. But the idea is to give ourselves and our friends a night off from the humdrum world and pretend we live a glamorous, elegant life. We use fine china and we dress nicely and we play classical music. Right before Melissa, I was going to ask if we could increase the chip-in to $30 a plate. I have the most resources out of anyone in the group, and I can afford to go out of pocket a bit more than Joan. None of the rest have the money, space, or culinary skills to put this together. Joan and I can cook like Julia Child. We're the ragtag lot with a variety of neurodivergences and mental health issues. These meals give us something special to look forward to. No, you're absolutely not the asshole. And I'm going to let you know right here and right now, Polly and Melissa know exactly what the fuck they're doing, because you can't tell me Melissa's big ass really went to a dinner for the first time, sat down and seen 2 plates of lasagna and decided one of those must be for me. This group of motherfuckers that I've never met before, one of them made an entire pan of lasagna for me. Okay, no. As a big back, my motherfucking self, you cannot tell me she did not know what the fuck she was doing because she was oblivious to it. Fuck that. The food wasn't that goddamn good that she had to grab 8 slices. This bitch cleared an entire fucking pan. She planned it. She knew what she was going to do. Polly told her what the fuck to do because why would she think to keep her bowls once everything else has been cleared away? Because Polly told her, if you're going to want extra food, you better keep the extra things with you so you can put it on. They knew exactly what the fuck they were doing. Hell no. I would stop inviting them. I would. And they can claim whatever the fuck they want. You're fat phobic. I don't give a fuck what you call it. I don't give a damn what you call it. You're rude. You're rude and you're disrespectful. And if you that goddamn hungry, I suggest you guys stay home. This shit has pissed me off to no fucking bounds. I feel like regardless of whether they have the room or not, Polly and Melissa need to fucking host. If you need that much motherfucking food, you guys are now the ones that are in charge of cooking all of it. It is not everybody else's fucking responsibility to cook 5 fucking dinners because your big back is not satisfied with normal sized portions. No, hell no. If y'all want to keep having these mental health dinners, I think regardless of whether they have the room or not, Polly and Melissa should now be added to the list of people that are going to fucking host. Because I know Melissa didn't get to be 600 pounds from not cooking. I know she didn't. Put her ass in the motherfucking kitchen since she want to eat a turkey, a ham, a roast, a duck, and everything else along with it. Hell no. Hell no.
My fiance keeps mentioning to me that we should just have a night of fun before we get married to get it all out of our system. And I just want to know if you guys think he's saying that just because he wants it. I have never once mentioned the desire to be with somebody else, but he has been mentioning this weekly now. So last night he mentioned it again, and he said that it's just better to get any desires out of the way now before we get married than cheating while we're married. But the thing is, I've literally never once said or mentioned any hint that I want to be with anyone else other than him. I definitely feel like he's just projecting and he is just the one that really wants to go have a night of fun, and he's making it seem like it's a us thing when it really isn't an us thing. I just wanted some feedback. I was wondering if other people think that he's projecting just because this is something that he wants to do. This is an update. I spoke to him after my original post just to ask him, like, if there's an ulterior motive to him constantly asking this. I asked him if he wants to see me with another man, and he said no. And then I asked him if he had cheated previously, and he's trying to get me to go hook up with someone else just to even it out. He said no. And then I also asked him if he plans on cheating on me, but he just wants me to do it first, and he also said no to that as well. I've never once gone through his phone. I've really never felt the need to. I don't even know the code to it, but something in me was telling me that I really needed to go through his phone. So I just straight up said to him, unlock your phone and pass it to me. And at that point, he went white as a ghost and he just started like stammering. He looked so scared. He eventually ended up passing me it, but he was shaking. The first thing I did was go on WhatsApp, and after that, I didn't need to go any further. He had been sharing my nudes in a group chat on WhatsApp with 500 other people, and they were talking about what they would do to me. There were also photos of other women in the group that other men sent and women sent of themselves, and I honestly didn't even care about that. I just asked him why he didn't tell me about this. At that point, I was about to hand his phone back, and then I noticed a little 1 notification next to the archived chats. So I opened it up. He was texting very inappropriate things with one of my best friends and with one of my cousins who was talking about sleeping with me, all 3 together. He was also receiving nudes from one of my bridesmaids, which I was literally just mind blown at this point. I've been extremely petty and I took screenshots of everything and I sent them in a bunch of group chats, and then I also posted them on Facebook and Instagram with all the relevant people tagged. I've also completely kicked him out of my apartment and he went back to live with his mom. He's tried to get in touch with me, but I just ignore everything.
My future mother-in-law is refusing to follow the dress code for my wedding, and I have no idea what to do about it. To give you some context on my mother-in-law, she could be a lot worse. Could be a lot better, but could be a lot worse. She is just the quintessential boy mom. Nobody will ever be good enough for my son. She's always been pretty hypercritical of me, honestly, in a weird way, competitive, if that makes sense. And every time I'm doing anything, she corrects me and tells me the way I should be doing it because my son loves things this way and you should just learn to do it just like me so he'll be happy. Girl, I'm not trying to be your son's mother. I'm trying to be his wife. So let's make that clear. When my fiance and I started planning our wedding, let me tell you, his mom had a lot of suggestions, all suggestions that 100% did not go with my vision. I wanted a really small wedding with just close friends and family, but she wanted to invite anybody she's ever met or that her friend of a friend of a friend has ever met. Literally everybody. She wanted this to be the biggest wedding of all time. And to be honest, I did not want to argue with her about it. I just let her invite the people she wanted. It's just way easier than arguing with her because one thing about this woman, you will never win. You'll never, ever win. I was actually surprised that up until this point, there weren't any issues with her in planning the wedding because she is a very big control freak. But I mean, I guess there weren't any issues because I was basically giving in to anything that she wanted just to avoid issues. But that took a huge turn for the worst when my future mother-in-law received our wedding invitations in the mail. You see, since I've been little, I've had this vision that everybody at my wedding was going to be in all black, and then the decorations would be really simple, but the florals were going to be super bright, vivid colors. I saw pictures of it when I was little, and I thought it was the most beautiful thing in the world. And since then, that's just been what my dream wedding was. So naturally, the wedding invitation had a little note about the dress code asking everyone to wear all black, which I thought is a pretty easy request because black is classic, it's timeless. Most people already have some kind of black dress or suit that they could wear. So I didn't think this was going to be an issue. And it wasn't an issue for anyone except my future mother-in-law. My mother-in-law calls me and the woman is in tears, saying that she cannot believe I didn't consult her on the dress code before I sent out the invitations. I mean, I don't know. I guess we could have talked about it, but consult you? Why would I consult you on the dress code for my wedding? She told me that she had seen a red dress online that she thought would be absolutely perfect for the wedding and that she was planning on buying that. She hasn't even bought the dress yet. She's just planning to buy it. And I told her, oh, well, I'm sorry. Maybe you could wear it for another occasion, but the dress code's going to be all black. And she was not having that. She said, absolutely not. I don't care. I'm going to wear a red dress to this wedding. You're just going to have to deal with it. I said, listen, I've been very accommodating on your vision for our wedding. I actually ended up changing the entire menu because she didn't like it and I didn't want to deal with the argument. But when it comes to the dress code, that's just something that I've wanted for so long and it is really important to me. She just kept saying, well, I absolutely hate that idea. I think it's going to be ugly and I don't want to do it. And I said, I understand that you don't want to, but it's also not your wedding. And she hated when I said that. She goes, what do you mean not my wedding? Just because I'm not getting married doesn't mean that I'm not still one of the biggest parts of this wedding. And that's when I said something I maybe shouldn't have said. And I said, the biggest part of this wedding, well, you are the one calling all the shots and demanding things, but also you're not willing to put in any money into it. It's actually my parents that are helping us fund the wedding. His mom has not put in a single dollar, even though she has more than enough money. She just wants to spend it on expensive handbags and not her son's wedding. Which is totally fine. I did not expect her to help us pay for the wedding, but it's absolutely wild to me that you are going to critique every single thing I'm doing in this wedding and you're not putting any money into it. At that point, you can have opinions, but you don't get a say in what I do. His mom says to me, just remember, you're only going to be the most important woman in his life once you say I do at the altar. So for the majority of that wedding day, I'm the most important woman in his life. I said, whoa, that was a lot for me. That I don't even know why that thought entered your brain. That's really weird. That's weird of you. The call ended basically by her telling me whether I liked it or not, she would be wearing red to my wedding. My fiance's been absolutely no help because one, he's not a planner. He just keeps saying whatever you want with the wedding is fine with me. I really don't care. And he also will never stand up to his mother and say, hey, I need you to back off. He won't do that. So now I'm stuck and I don't know what I'm going to do. If I want to change the dress code, I'm going to have to individually call every single guest and tell them that the dress code isn't black. They can wear black if they want, but they don't have to. It's just weird. It's a weird situation. I don't know if I just let this woman control my entire wedding because it's easier or if I really stand up for myself and what I want for my wedding.
Story time how my girl best friend effed my talking stage. Y'all might be like, girl, it was a talking stage. No, girl, that was my future man's. So long story short, me and this girl met at this new school that I went to my sophomore or junior year, I'm not sure. But literally, I had met her because she was a new student, and I was like, you know what, like, I'm a big, I'm gonna try to comfort her, whatever, make her feel welcome. So I did. At the time, I was hanging out with these other 3 people. The girl, boy, and O. Keep in mind, O. O is the guy that I liked. So, me and her got along pretty good, Like, she like, we all literally got along. Literally, with all in that group, we all got along. I didn't see no motherfucking red flags, of course. Fast forward, I start telling her that, like, it's already been, like, a couple of months of us being friends, Like, I already trusted her, And I tell her, like, girl, I really like This chupito-ass looking girl was like, oh, yeah, we look cute together, You should guys come to my house this weekend and we'll have fun. Mind you, this girl, when she means fun, she mean. And if you know what I mean, she like that booger sugar. So then I tell her, I don't know, like, I'm gonna have to ask my grandma. Mind you, my grandma did not like her, bro. I think she already knew. She had a good feeling about her. But my grandma was like, I don't like her, I do not like her. But I'll ask her the day of. So then that day of comes around, right? Like, when I tell you, I think I already said when that day came around, I literally begged my grandma, bro. I literally begged her. I literally cried at her. I was like, please, like, you don't let me go. Like, it's just gonna be a girl's night. Knowing damn well I was fucking lying. So, literally, after an hour or 2 of crying and begging to my grandma, she was like, okay, I'll let you go. Fuck, what the fuck did I get on my face? She's like, I'll let you go, but under one condition. There can't be boys there. Girl, G and O were gonna be there. So I told my grandma, no, like, it's just gonna be me and D. We're just gonna have a girls' night and chill. So I literally texted D after that. I was like, girl, she let me go. Girl, I was so excited. Literally, I was too happy that, like, I was jumping up and down and stuff. And D was like, well, I got a drink here and I got a whole lot of stuff that we can have fun with, And I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. So this is where things start to get a little what. So literally, I pull up to her house and I tell her, you know what? You gotta come talk to my grandma because, like, so she could know we're not gonna do nothing wrong. This perra has the audacity to go tell my grandma and, like, hi and everything. Like, after what you did, you had it planned, knowing damn well. So then I remember chilling at her house, and she tells me, well, G is gonna show up, like, we're gonna have fun, G is coming and O is coming. And I was like, oh, O is coming? Okay, I didn't really know. I thought he was joking. So literally, oh my god, bro, this is about to get nasty. So she literally starts hyping me up because she already had drank at the house, and she's like, no, here, and I was like, okay, whatever, I didn't think much of it. So I'm like sipping it, and so other stuff was involved, and I was like, okay, whatever. Literally, we start blazing up, right? She's like, oh shit, G showed up. So G showed up and everything starts pulling off fine. We're all having fun at this point. Fast forward, O shows up. He gives me a big hug in front of her, okay? In front of her, keep that in mind. And O brings more bud and more drink, right? Right. So maybe like an hour or 2 had passed. Girl, I don't know. I was already cross as. If you see this, mom and dad, I am so sorry. And a couple more hours passed by. And girl, me and O are already feeling each other, And literally, I started that same fucking day. I remember that clear as day. Like, somehow we spawned in Walmart. Like, that's what I remember. I remember parts of it, so, like, I can't fully tell the story correct because I remember, like, bits of it. I was in and out. And then somehow we spawned back at her house, right? Right. keep this in mind. Literally, my grandma didn't tell me a specific time she was gonna pick me up, so I tried to stay awake at the time, knowing damn well I was crossfaded. And me and O are cuddling. I fall asleep. I remember falling asleep in his arms. Okay, girl. And literally, this fucking D was like, "Oh, you guys look so cute. Date already. Date. You lying ass hoe. Like, how you a hoe and big as hell?" Bro, literally, my heart drops because literally, I get a phone call. I remember her yelling like, "Oh my God, a phone's ringing. Somebody's outside." Bro, I panicked so hard because I was so crossed and it smelled like. So literally, D was like, "Oh my God, what do we do? I was like, I just remember telling her like, "Give me pizza so I could like sober up a little bit," knowing damn well I want to fucking help at all. So then I was like, "Okay, oh, walk me to the door, you know, like don't let my grandma see you because she's not gonna let me come back." Bro, literally, we kissed in front of her. Keep this in mind, bro. Keep this in mind. I had a with me that day, okay? Remember, and O had lent me his battery, and I had left it in the girls' room, okay? Keep that in mind. So literally, I remember being effed up in my grandma's car on my way home. Like, I remember that. I remember her being like, "Are you okay?" Like, her voice would like echo in a way, you know? I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me. So literally the next day, girl, I wake up and I see this. You see this. O is right here. This is G and I'm right there. You see me in between O's legs? She had covered me, bro. Like, what? Like, I know this turtle ass motherfucking bitch ain't do that. Bro, not just that. Only because I don't have the other screenshot. But, literally, I wake up and I see that and I'm like, what the fuck? I click onto the next story, bro. When I tell you my heart dropped to my toes, bro. To my toes. It was a picture of her and O kissing, bro. Like, kissing. I know her. What the fuck? Bro, when I tell you, I called both of these fuckers. I was like, "D, why the fuck would you do this to me? I looked up to you as a sister, bro." I was crying to her, bro. I was like, "How could you do this to me? Like, why did O do this? Like, we were fine yesterday. What the?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know, girl, but like, if you don't want to talk to me over a guy anymore, it's totally fine." Girl, what the fuck? Not just that, bro. You literally posted up kissing him, knowing damn well me and him were booed up and shit. Like the day before. Not even the day before, the same exact day, bro. Like, this is why I don't trust perros out here, bro. There's always one or at least one bitch out here trying to get me. So then I text O and I call O. Literally, he's not answering the phone. So then I call this other bitch again. This bitch was like, "Well, he's here, but I don't think he wants to talk to you." Bro, that literally broke my heart. Because, like, literally, y'all both ganged up on me, you know? That's effed up. Bro, not just that. They hung out on a Sunday. I was like, what the fuck? I have to see them on Monday, bro. Come to find out on Monday, my homeboy G tells me I was there. And they did not just kiss. They done fucked in front of me while I was in the same room asleep. Now, how more dirty can you be? You done took my man. You were my best friend. And you F him in front of our other friend? Like, what? But yeah, guys, I won't have time because I'm not done yet. But I try to make this story time more shorter because some lady was like, "It's too much drama. Bitch, ain't nobody give a fuck, ho." Like, bro, I'm just doing something with my life at this point. Like, bro, but one more thing. I had seen them both at school. Tell me why she had dragged him into an addiction. I know, huh? Not just that, she was literally slobbering on him and kissing on him in class. What the fuck? That's fucking disgusting. And like, she thought she was making me mad the whole time. I'm just like,